Well, hi, this is Dan Thompson, and today we're going to talk about fees. Just about every day I talk to someone invested in mutual funds, a 401k, and usually with an advisor who's compensated by fees. I like to ask, do you know what you're paying in fees? If I asked you that, what would be your answer? For the most part, no one knows exactly what they pay in fees. Some have a ballpark idea because their advisor told them that he or she would be charging them X% to manage their money. But is that it? Mutual funds, for instance, have hidden fees and costs as well. The fund's management fee and these soft costs cannot be easily found, nor are they openly disclosed. But you can find them. It's been reported that there are as many as 17 different fees and soft costs associated with a mutual fund. Now, I've listed these fees and costs in detail in another video, so if you want to see what those are, you might want to check that out. Now, many of you have done some research on your mutual funds and saw the management fee, and it may show something like 1.5% or 2%. And you think that's it, so you quit looking any further. And I get it. The other fees and costs, again, can be difficult to find. But the management fee may be only half the cost. For the moment, let's assume that the mutual fund management fees were just 1%. Now, what about your advisor? Or should I say, what about your fiduciary? Now, this is a new title that you're going to hear more and more of if you haven't heard it quite yet. The title fiduciary is supposed to tell you that as a fiduciary, they're looking out for your best interests first. Well, let's see how that works out, as fiduciaries are supposed to charge fees. They're not supposed to take commissions. So let's see how that works out for you. Have you heard the term wrap fee? Well, that might be more of Wall Street's jargon for wrapping a fee around a fee. If you're working with a fee-based advisor or fiduciary and they're buying mutual funds for you, then more than likely you're paying the wrap fee. Let's suppose, again, the fund is only charging 1% management fee. What the advisor does then is wrap an additional fee for themselves around the mutual fund. So let's suppose that the advisor is going to charge another 1%. Well, how does that play out over time? Let's do a little math here. Suppose we have 30 years to invest. We got $100,000, and let's assume we're going to get 8% return. I know that 8% is a stretch. On the outset, I realize this is a flawed calculation. And why is that? Because Wall Street does not go up in a perfect linear line, nor do the markets provide a consistent, stable return each year. And you can't use averages here either. In my other video, average versus actual returns, you'll see one of the biggest deceptions of Wall Street is when they use average. So again, I know this is flawed. Just know that the average return does not equal the actual returns, and they can have vastly different outcomes. In addition, to make matters worse, Dalbar, which is a mutual fund analytical company, suggests that the real return for ordinary investors in mutual funds over 30 years is closer to 3.5%. With all that said, I still want to use the example of 8% return simply to prove a point regarding fees. And I know we have little or no chance of getting that in our mutual funds, but bear with me. What I want to show you is how fees affect the dollars and cents long term. You should first understand that there are two parts to calculating your fees. The first part, of course, is the fee itself. The 1 or the 2% being charged and then deducted from your account each year. The second part, and maybe the more significant part, and that's the part that is rarely calculated, is what's called the lost opportunity cost on that fee that you paid. As a simple example, again, with our $100,000, 1% fee would cost $1,000, right? But where this gets exponentially costly to you is that $1,000 you paid in fees is gone. It's no longer growing for you forever. This is called opportunity cost on fees. This can add up to a substantial amount of money. There's something else that you need to think about as well. The fee is taken out win, lose, or draw, break even. It's taken. In our example, if your money grows, let's say 10% in 1 year, you now have $110,000. Well, your fee just went up as well. Okay, so here we go. Let's first look at an account without fees. Then we'll compare that to an account with a 1% fee and then a 2% fee. So we have 100,000 growing at 8%. In 30 years, that account value with no fees would be $1,006,265.69. Now what happens with 1% fee? Doesn't seem like too much, right? Let's see, at just 1% in fees, the account drops from over $1 million to $744,335.11. Now let's see how the double whammy of fees and opportunity costs affected you in that same scenario. You actually paid in fees just about $100,000. Yeah, that's still a whopping amount, I know. But in lost opportunity cost, the $100,000 growing for you would have brought you an additional $161,000 in the account. In other words, the money you paid in fees would have produced another $161,000 of growth had the fees stayed inside your account. And at 2%, the fees, the account value drops from over $1 million to $548,902.15. That's a reduction in account value of $457,000. Again, the fees you paid totaled $166,000, but the lost opportunity cost on those fees was an additional $291,000. Think about it this way. Just 1% in fees costs you 26% of your total return. That means for every $4 you made, you gave $1 in fees. So now that you see that 1% in fees costs you 26% of your returns, now does 1% seem pretty inexpensive? Again, although 2% may not sound like a lot, in reality, 2% in fees cost 45% of your total return. Think about that. You gave up 45% of your total return to have your money actively managed. That's almost half your return. The question then becomes, was the management worth over $400,000 to you? Now, can I really scare you? It's been suggested by several sources that 401k fees can be as high as 4%. Let's see what even 3.5% fees does to a retirement account value over time. The account value drops from over $1 million that it could be with no fees, and with 3.5% in fees drops to $345,566.84. That's almost 70% of all your growth. Yeah, 3.5% in fees cost you 70% of your account value, including the lost opportunity growth on those fees. Now, we've got to talk more about these fees. There are so many aspects that you've likely not considered when paying fees. So what we're going to do is take this up on part 2 to keep this video short. And by the way, if you want a copy of our fee calculator spreadsheet for free, shoot me an email and I'll send it right to you. In the meantime, if you have any questions, always shoot me an email. I'll get back to you just as quick as I can with an answer. Now, watch for part 2 on fees. It's going to be interesting. Take care.